What's the scariest plumbing job I had in 2023? Let's talk about it.
I'm Kenny Molotov, licensed plumber, professional magician, and entertainer. On this channel, I go through the ins and outs of my career in plumbing. I take you through a day in the life and we talk tools, theory, and mindset. I'm trying to give you an arsenal of knowledge and an online resource so you can take this trade head on and find yourself successful on the other end. Click subscribe, hit that bell notification, and let's talk pipes.
Peeps, Kenny Molotov. Check out MolotovPlumbingAcademy.com so you can get courses that are specifically designed to help you succeed in your apprenticeship, and also join our newsletter down below in the description. That way you know when we get new videos on the channel and also any new products or courses coming your way. So I wanted to talk about this very scary and uncomfortable situation that took place last year. I feel like I'm ready to talk about it finally, but every once in a while you're going to run into a plumbing situation that falls upon the anxiety-inducing side of things, and unfortunately that's part of the game. I think that no matter what, there are going to be kind of these really crucial moments and these really crucial times where people are over your shoulder and they're very hard on you, and you are going to have to do everything in your power to take it on the chin and move forward gracefully and nobly with integrity in hand, and make sure that you don't yourself crack and say something you shouldn't say or do something you shouldn't do. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, that's part of the game. When you are doing business, it's part of the game when you're just working for somebody. Every once in a while, something hard comes your way, and we got to do everything in our power to remain professional. So I had a friend reach out to me last year. This is somebody I went to elementary school with, and then later on, I don't know how we reconnected. I think he ended up reaching out for something else and realizing that I was a plumber. He goes, "Hey, you do plumbing?" I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I need your help." So he described to me a situation where I had to go in to do some work. Now, there's a property management like there is in a lot of buildings that I end up working in, and the property management has a lot of power. Do you know what I mean? And as they should. They are there to maintain and monitor the status of the building. So any sort of plumbing that has to be done has to be kind of addressed to them, and that happens in all buildings that they're a property management with. So that's fine. I ended up getting prepared for this job, handing in the paperwork to my friend, but for some reason the paperwork didn't end up at the property management. Property management reaches out to me, says, "We need a few things before you can commence work." I say no problem. I try to get all that information out to them, and I'm on the job site and I'm ready to go. And the first thing that I have to do is go to the property management. We needed to go to the different tenants and talk to them about the work that was going to take place. So the first thing that happens is I get to the property management, I introduce myself, I say hello, and the first thing that they say is, "By the way, you have to tarp all of these areas." And this is the first time that I've been told that I have to put a tarp on anything, and I'm already on the job site. I don't have a tarp handy. I don't have a ladder that is large enough to tarp the area I'm supposed to tarp. So I'm like taken aback very quickly there, and I'm kind of sitting back going, okay, I mean, like if that's what we got to do going forward, I'm game, but there are things that I require in order to do the tarping, including the tarp. You know what I'm saying? If you had given me a heads up, even a half an hour or an hour heads up, I could have gone to the appropriate store and picked up this tarp. So I'm taken aback. I go, okay, you know, I didn't know that, but sure, we can go forward. And the property manager looks at me and goes, "What, you just weren't going to tarp?" I go, "No, I didn't know tarping was appropriate." And he kind of looks at me and goes, "Well, you know, my contractors would have known that this is appropriate." Now, this is a very offensive statement in general. You shouldn't be comparing me to anybody. This is falling on the unprofessional side. Your contractor shouldn't be part of this conversation. You just need to tell me what to do, and then I will take the appropriate steps to do it, sort of thing. But I bite my tongue. I don't say anything about it. We continue going towards different tenants that we need to kind of talk to before work starts. So we get to the tenants, and, you know, we end up introducing ourselves, saying hello, talking about tarping and this and that. And I realize it's a significant height that I have to get to in order to do this tarping. And again, I'm already on the job site. I learned about this tarping within the last 15 minutes. I am not prepared. afford to be able to put a ladder that tall up to do this tarping. So I turned to this property manager. I said, listen, I'm going to go out and buy this tarp. Is there any chance that there is a ladder on site or some sort of device on site that I can use to get up there safely? And the property manager gets really upset with me. He goes, see, like my contractors wouldn't even be asking me these questions. And it was at this moment that I got frustrated and I felt like he was being unreasonably unprofessional, especially under the circumstance. So I turned to him and I said, okay, so what do you want me to do? You want me to leave? He goes, no, I don't want you to leave, but if you're not ready to do the work, then don't do the work. I said, I am ready to do the work, but you're telling me about tarping when I'm on the job site already, as if I'm supposed to know that I'm supposed to do that. And he's like, well, what did you expect? I mean, you're doing the work here. What would you think was going to happen? I said, I'm not doing the work here. I'm doing the work above. I don't know how this rule about tarping all of a sudden came into place. So I'm asking you if you have anything on site. And he goes, yeah, my contractors wouldn't even ask that question. I said, okay, listen, but it's your job to answer these questions. I'm not asking you anything inappropriate. I'm asking you what I normally ask property management companies. A lot of times, especially if it's a large enough building where you require a scissor lift, a lot of times there are scissor lifts on site for contractors to sign out. That is just very typical of this. If it wasn't, we would have had to be speaking many days in advance to be able to rent a scissor lift and have it delivered to the site. Like there's a lot of things that takes place on large buildings like this. So this argument breaks out and he gets very upset. And he's upset because I'm also telling him, the truth is that you're being extremely unprofessional, I told him. You shouldn't be comparing me to anybody. And also, it's part of your job for me to ask you these questions and to answer them. It is strange that you're getting angry and frustrated that I'm having this discussion with you as if I shouldn't be having this discussion with you. This is exactly what you're here for. So the property manager didn't like the way I was speaking to him. By the way, I need to keep in mind that yes, I was frustrated, but the entire time I remained professional. I never broke professional language, which is so crucial. That is the fastest way to lose your job, and it's the fastest way to be kicked out. But either way, he wasn't happy with it, so he turns to me and he goes, you know what? You're not working here today. That's it, and he cuts it off. And I said, okay, that's no problem. That's no skin off my back. I just feel bad for my friend that you're being so unprofessional and inappropriate and just being frustrated in general. You shouldn't be taking your frustrations out on me. That's not how this works. So I leave the job site very upset. And I had a friend that was coming that day as well, and I had to call him up and apologize to him. And then I called my friend up who hired me for the job, and I let him know, listen, I'm very sorry for my part in this. I got into an argument with the property manager and I started explaining the story to him, and my friend turns to me on the phone and he basically goes, listen, to be honest, we've been having this argument for a very long time. So, don't take that personally. He just seems to be very upset about certain things. He seems to be gatekeeping to a degree. And this conversation with my friend it put me at ease a little bit, even though I still felt really crummy. It's very scary, by the way, to be in business for yourself and to really blow a relationship like that right away. It's really an uncomfortable situation. I was very unhappy with myself, but at the same time, this property manager needed to know, listen, you're stepping on boundaries that you shouldn't be crossing. That shouldn't be happening. So what ends up transpiring from this is, within the next couple of days, there were some very strong worded emails where the property management was challenging my expertise and my professionalism or whatnot. We ended up getting the documents to prove that I was in fact licensed, that I did have the appropriate insurance, but there were a lot of weird little fumbles where they were trying to get me to cover way more insurance than I'm typically asked to, which is something their own contractors would do, but I'm not the in-house contractor. So asking me to take on the insurance it was inappropriate, and my friend had to call this person up and basically have a little bit of a back and forth saying, what you're asking for is inappropriate. So then I was hired to do the job again. And this is very uncomfortable, especially now because I've gotten into the argument. I know that this property manager is Hawkeye at this point. They are very interested in finding any sort of mistake. So the entire time that I'm there, I have to be honest, I'm working with a larger sense of anxiety than I normally work with, because I know that if anything goes wrong, I'm going to have all hell break loose on me and also my friend. And I really don't want to put them in that situation, and I don't want to be in that situation either. So the work ended up finishing. I got paid for it. Thankfully, knock on wood, Everything went as planned. We didn't have any sort of leaks or whatnot, but the entire time was anxiety inducing. The entire time I was sitting back trying to figure out, why am I here? Why am I under this much stress? And that's one thing that I have to explain to you. Being in that situation and knowing people are kind of gunning for you or have the opportunity to gun for you, it's probably the hardest way to work. You know what I mean? Because you are sitting back trying to find the best possible solution, but you have this lingering haunting taking place of like, don't mess this up. This is going to be really bad if you mess this up. Man, we're going to be out of business, knock on wood, if you mess this up like this and that. But there's something that I learned about this entire situation. A couple of things that I learned about this entire situation. And the first one is this. The property manager, I am fairly certain, was under the impression I was doing a much larger job than what I was actually hired to do. So they were under the impression that I was going to cut into like a 4-inch horizontal drain. And this 4-inch horizontal drain was like right above a few of the tenants. And I think that's why they were so shocked at the fact that I didn't even consider to bring tarps or anything to catch this water. I was just going to let it spill all over the tenants below. And if I'm accurate in that understanding, and if I read that correctly, I totally understand why he was so shocked at what he was hearing. And I can also appreciate that I probably would feel the same way. I would be questioning the competence of the person coming in. So there was a miscommunication that took place where I was trying to do something less intrusive than that, upstairs inside the unit, rather than underneath the ceiling that is right above the tenants below. You see what I'm saying? So eventually I came to realize, oh, that's probably what went down. And that's why this relationship ended up kind of destroying all at the same time. I wish it was different, man. I wish we were able to hash that out and figure that out earlier on, because I can appreciate that's a lot of stress on their part, the property manager's part, and it was very stressful on my part as well. So I think that miscommunication is what led us down the road of getting into that argument. It would be nice to have the property management on my side and vice versa, right? We have the same goals in mind, the property manager and I. We want a problem-free installation. We all can agree on that. So that's why I kind of feel like it's regrettable what took place. But at the same time, I felt like I needed to stand my ground, especially when it was becoming unprofessional. I was getting on the rude side. I think that's necessary from time to time. I'm really happy that I didn't break professional protocol, which means my language was professionally intact and never changed and never fluctuated. So that's good. There is an argument to be made of maybe I should have continued to bite my tongue. But at the same time, I mean, if I'm going to go down the road of kind of standing my ground, I'm going to have to be able to do that and maintain professional at the same time. So that's what I learned about the entire situation. We are doing everything in our power to maintain professionalism, make sure that we're doing everything in our power to create a good relationship between us and property management, etc. But there's only so much we can do. There are other parties at play that are also bringing their own baggage into the conversation, and unfortunately sometimes it's hard to diffuse situations, you know what I mean? But that anxiety during work, miserable. So peeps, let me know what you would have done in the situation. Would you have bitten your tongue a couple of times? I think it was around 3 times that the person had ended up reminding me how good their plumbers were and how bad I am. Do you know what I mean? Would you have bitten your tongue the entire time? Would you have said something the way I have? I don't know. I want to get your take on it, find out how you would have handled the situation. I think that would be fun. Also, if there are any other videos that you want to see, any other topics you want me to cover, let me know down in the comments below as well. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you know exactly when we're getting videos, smash that thumbs up, share with friends, and I'll see you plumbers very soon. Kenny Molotov, guys. Peace, baby.